ready? I think we're ready. Ready? Hey, I'm Dave. Welcome to my shop. I'm Dave Plummer, a retired operating systems engineer going back to the MS-DOS and Windows 95 days. And this morning I'm coming to you live from a rainy Saturday or Sunday morning, actually, in Dave's garage here to bring you a casual walkthrough of what's new in Windows 11. I received a lot of requests and suggestions from folks to do a walkthrough way back when the first Windows 11 builds leaked onto the internet. And a lot of people around YouTube did just that, but it was clear that what they were seeing was a very rough early preview. That didn't stop them from picking it apart, however, which somehow just didn't seem fair. But now that it's much closer to fully baked, though, I think it's complete enough that we can take a tour of the new landscape and see what there is to see. At that point, I considered doing a fully scripted episode, and who knows, maybe I still will do that to coincide with the official release. But for now, I thought a live stream would be the best way to go about it because I thought it would be just the kind of thing where I could... Everything good? All right. So that I could poke around the thing and take a little exploratory journey, and you can come along for the ride. All I've got to do is narrate what I see as I go, and the thing pretty much writes itself. So like a piano teacher who stays one chapter ahead of her students, that's what we'll be doing. From what I've seen so far, Windows 11 is a major upgrade, and at the same time, it isn't. That is to say, a lot has changed, but it has changed in a manner consistent with the direction that they set out with in Windows 10. To me, Windows 11 is less a major overhaul and more Windows 10++. And guess what? Taken literally, Windows 10++ would be Windows 11 anyway, but my point is that they didn't change directions. It's not like when they veered off into the weeds with Windows 8 and then righted the ship with 10. Or put another way, it absolutely doesn't have the feel of a Vista, for example. Now, the cynic might say, oh, they rounded off some corners and added a blue skin, but I think it goes a lot deeper than that. More than anything, as I said, it's really more Windows 10 than ever. The edges where you'd fall off Windows 10 and into some XP-era dialog boxes are fewer and less jarring, but there are still some there. The settings UI is much more complete, and all new features seem to be expressed in a way that's consistent with that UI as well. You know what they say about opinions, and mine are probably even worse because I worked in this area on an earlier version of this actual product, so I'm a little self-righteous about it. So on the one hand, I love most of what they've done here, but at the same time, the fact that you can't drag things out from the start menu or even from the search results that come up within it simply blows my mind. I do it all the time on Mac OS, and not because I read it in a book of obscure UI gestures, but because I intuitively tried it once after searching and it worked, so now I expect it to work everywhere. Plus, drag and drop isn't that hard to do. Alright, it's a little hard to do, but it's still worthwhile. Well, here's another potentially contentious viewpoint that I might as well share. Requiring TPM for Windows 10. It's not part of some evil conspiracy just to sell hardware. It's a good idea that comes with a few costs. The cost, of course, is that you need a new enough CPU and motherboard to support TPM, which stands for Trusted Platform Module. I think it's easiest to explain it as a little digital vault that can be trusted to act as a chain of trust going all the way up to the root, but even when you're not online. I ordered the TPM module for my old Asus Z97 board with an i4770K, only to find out that the CPU is now too old for some reason, at least according to that upgrade advisor that Microsoft released and then pulled back. So I understand the frustration, but here's the thing. At least as far as I can tell, the only way that Microsoft can make machines truly secure is to be secure from the BIOS boot on forward. That means they never run unsigned code or drivers. It's just my interpretation of things, but here's how it could work. And I've got a guy here who knows how it actually does work helping me out, so this is going to be a little embarrassing because my speculation came before he turned up. But the motherboard support logic could check to verify that the BIOS is signed, checking with the TPM to be certain. If so, it would hand control off to the UEFI BIOS, which in turn is set to load only a secure operating system whose boot files are also signed and verified. The operating system loads, and it in turn only loads applications and device drivers that have been signed digitally by a trusted vendor. That trust can be verified either locally via the TPM or, once you're online, via the internet. I assume the TPM supports some kind of permanent revocation mechanism so that it can be updated once connected online, but I'm not actually sure about that part. The problem comes about when only some systems or setups are secure boot. If it becomes optional, then how do you know if the system was booted securely unless you went into the BIOS to confirm it yourself? There's no such thing as a consumer's unsigned iPhone, for example, but if some are and some aren't trustworthy, you've got to have some mechanism to verify which is which. A jailbroken iPhone can run untrusted software, but it can't pretend to be trustworthy, at least not in a cryptographically verifiable way. So here's my idea. I'd like to hear your thoughts about it in the comments. I figure it's either genius or unworkable, but I'm not sure which, so I filed my $99 provisional patent on it anyway. It goes something like this. When the TPM is used by the UEFI BIOS to start the signed version of Windows, the root of trust goes all the way back to the TPM's sealed secrets. Those represent the blessings of VeriSign or Intel or whomever the root of trust ultimately goes back to. I propose that right on the login screen, just show me a QR code that I can validate with my phone. I point my smartphone camera at the symbol on screen and boom, instant and authoritative confirmation of the state of trust on the machine. A system that was not booted with the chain of trust intact would not be able to generate that QR code, period. The text in system info is easy to spoof once hacked if that's what you're relying on, but a QR code with a payload that includes a timestamp signed with a root of trust going back to the TPM and beyond simply can't be forged. This solution would allow some machines to be TPM equipped and some to be legacy. And then if you or your company had a policy of only signing into secure systems, you simply wouldn't use a system that couldn't present a verifiable QR code on the login screen that you could check with your phone. Well, in the immortal words of 8-Ball Deluxe, it's time to stop talking and start chalking, which means it's time to start clicking on things and seeing what happens. Along the way, I've got with me my great old moderator, Glenn, and I've also got Chris here, who's another Microsoft veteran of 10 or 15 years, and he'll be taking the questions that come in from Glenn and then letting me know what to do and what to click on once I run out of things to try. So, before we get crazy, the one thing I've got to do is dismiss this box here. And I'm now using OBS, so I'm not a live streamer. I don't do a lot of this, but what I've set up here is the ability for me to switch so that and as needed, we can check the control room. Here's a reverse view with me waving. There you go. Dog bed, the whole deal. So the first thing you're naturally going to want to do is check out the new Start menu. And it's a little weird because now it's in the center. This probably makes sense for a couple reasons, probably the first of which being a touch, like if you're on a tablet or something. But I've always thought that the Start menu had the bonus, if I don't even look, I can just shoot my mouse down bottom left, and I know it's down bottom left, so it's right there. And that's where the Start menu should be. So if you want that set up, just right-click on it, or right-click on the taskbar, pick Taskbar Settings, go to Taskbar Behaviors, center, and change that to left. Close it, and there we have sort of a conventional, at least, location for the Start menu. I'm going to put it back in the center, though, to keep this Windows 11-y. Plus, I found I actually don't mind it as much as I thought I would. So the difference between search, there you have two buttons now. You have Start and you have Search. And they're very similar. The difference is as soon as you start typing into Run, you get the search. So it's really, search is what you would get in the old Start menu once you've started typing something and searching. So if I look for a file like rar/key.rar, something that's not going to be an obviously easily indexed document, see if we can find this. There we go. So it found my registration key for WinRAR. But the problem is I can't drag it out. I can run it. I can double click it. I probably shouldn't have done that publicly and see what's on here now with my home address and everything else. But so back into search here. If I right click on search, I wonder how I get to the options for that. Well, let's do the search. I'm going to type indexing options. I want to know how to change these.
Are you using Windows 11 as a daily driver?
I am not. I'm running this in a VM, although it has never crashed on me. It's never given me a problem yet. There's a few rough edges in the security center. When I click on a link to things, I get a, do you want to install an app from the App Store? So if we hit that, I'll point that out. But that's the only bug I've really run into. So it's pretty stable, and it's, I don't know, it's pretty close to being ready. So we'll talk about whether I'm going to upgrade right away later on, but it's a compelling choice. So here's one thing, indexing options. I'm sure in Windows 10 this was all just old UI, but it's old UI. So this is one of the cases where you're getting punted off. And if I'm going to do advanced options, all this stuff, I'm not going to play with any of that. So that is an example of where you fall out of dark mode and you're back into the, I'm going to call it XP or Win2K almost for the lack of a better term. There's not a great deal of it, but they are there. So as an example, if I go to networking, this used to be all sort of a 50-50 hit and miss. They've got a lot better now. So I've got all my stats. Here's my 10 gigabit confirmation. Things you used to have to go to the device page for. Now, there probably still are cases. Let's see if I go back. I'll just show you all my networking information so that you can Hack me as I live stream. Change adapter options. Here we go. And here I am dropped out into a non-dark mode. Old format UI. But I had to go pretty deep. I had to get down into network adapter options, which I'm sure we do all the time, but moms and pops and folks don't generally do it all that often.
So we have a bunch of questions.
All right, shoot.
We have this is an interesting security question. How compromised is Windows 11 since the Microsoft 32 terabyte source code leak back in 2017?
Well, one can argue you get all the benefits of open source, I guess.
I was going to say, how compromised is Linux?
Right, that's the thing. If you now everybody can see it, they will find extra holes, but all the security researchers out there that get paid and rewarded for finding stuff like that are going to be that much easier, have that much easier access to it.
Yeah. How much memory and disk is it eating right now?
How much memory and disk? Well, let's first find out if Task Manager has a dark mode. How do you get to Task Manager? Because look, right click, there's nothing.
Task Manager?
Yeah, I could, but I'm wondering how you actually get there. I can also press Control-Shift-Escape because I know that'll work because that's in WinLogon, not in the shell. But I want to find it. Here we go. Task Manager. So if you right-click on the Start button, you get it. Oh, my eyes. It's burning my eyes with its beauty, but no. So let's see where we're at. Now, this is the Threadripper with 32 cores. We're using 2% of the CPU doing nothing. I think I gave it 16 gigabytes, and it has 40% of that in use. Let's go to the performance page here. Here's all my cores, 64 virtual processors. It's a virtual machine. 143,000 handles. That's a lot of handles. We're using 6 gigs of memory just sitting here, which is actually kind of impressive, but how much of
You
this?
can imagine that maybe cache and all sorts.
Yeah. So yeah, it's unfortunate they have not been able to update dark mode for this yet. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, there is a lot of custom painting in Task Manager, but even when I talked to them when I was doing that, can I get the source code to do it in the speech, I was surprised that they kind of intimated that stuff about how I had written Task Manager made it more complicated to make it dark mode.
Because only you could understand it.
Yes. So now I must return. But
Somebody actually asked that. They said, hey, you should return back to Microsoft and you can fix dark mode.
you know, and no joke, if it was not for COVID, I would probably consider going back to do pinball and Task Manager. If they took me back, I'd go back half-time.
2 jobs.
That's right.
Somebody asked, they were wondering if you could share your thoughts on the more bureaucratic side of Windows 11, the hard limits on upgrades, and the pulling of the compatibility checker for 2 months and so on.
Yeah, anything to do with bureaucracy at Microsoft. Remember, I've been gone 20 years, so I have no idea what they're thinking. I barely know anybody who's thinking the thoughts that they're thinking over there. So in terms of why Microsoft did stuff, why they haven't fixed your favorite bug, why they haven't added your favorite feature, any kinds of why issues, your guess is going to be as good as mine. So I can give you probably better insight on the technical side since I worked on this stuff, but I didn't work in the bureaucracy back then, so I can't really shed much insight on that stuff.
Indeed.
Back to my roster. Let's see. The one I always like playing with is colors and personalization. The one thing I do find odd about this, and this was true of Windows 10 too, is that you can't pick totally custom colors. So let's say I wanted color to match my outfit or something. You can't. They give you a set of colors and that's all you get. And it's not like, they don't want you picking a weird color like bright pink. They're okay with that, so.
That is strange.
No, this won't change without my desktop much, but what else can you tinker with? There was a transparency setting now. I can't get transparency to work. Maybe you know the answer to this. Could be because I'm over RDP. I've got everything enabled that I can enable everywhere.
Yeah, do you have DX acceleration enabled?
I should, yeah. Not in the bio, not in the registry. I didn't hack the registry or anything, but I turned on every checkbox in the client.
Yeah, usually that's the thing that makes transparency not work.
Right.
Is where you're not remoting the DX stuff.
One thing I'm going to have a problem and probably not provide as much value here as I'd like is I'm not a Windows 10 expert necessarily, so it's not like I know what is in Windows 10. So if I go, wow, this is all brand new, it's so fancy, look at this. It could be all in Windows 10 too, but I haven't played with it since XP, so open your phone. I gotta work with my iPhone. I have my doubts.
So people are curious about the format tool. Has it changed?
The format tool. Let's go format something. Or let's propose to format something.
Oh, there goes the NAS.
Format. No, not even dark format. It is the exact same dialogue it's been for forever.
Transparency doesn't work over enhanced session IRs.
Okay, so we won't get transparency, unfortunately. So yeah, it looks like it's all the same here. Unsurprising, but yes, unchanged.
There's a custom color button.
Custom color? Where?
Yeah. So custom colors below the color boxes.
In where? Color personalization?
Yeah. That's crazy.
This is why we're doing a live stream, so people that know these things can tell me that. Personalization, colors, custom colors, view colors. Oh, wow, look at that. That's new for Windows 11, or I didn't find it in 10 either. Let's see if I can pick something really
You can
horrible.
match your outfit.
Yeah. Actually, my shirt matches the desktop already, so let's do a kind of a really hideous. There you go. Yeah, I guess it does. It lets you pick any horrible color you want.
That's hideous. Somebody was asking about privacy settings.
Privacy settings. Well, let's take a look. Device privacy, account privacy. We'll probably go account privacy. Account info access. Let apps access your account info. Well, why would I want that? Oh, I guess for these two, I might. Yeah. Microsoft content. We'll leave that off because I don't even know what that means. It's probably MSN homepage. Email and accounts. Well, I guess I could turn that on. Let's turn that on. Because I have been getting some weird funkadelic errors that I thought were just bugs, but maybe not. So what if I want to turn off, I have to keep it on because I'm in the insider preview, but what are the metrics? What do they call it? I thought that would be under privacy, but diagnostics, there we go. Let's see what they want me to send. You're sending the required diagnostic data, and that's probably like call stacks and stuff. That's not pictures from your folder. They're not sending anything nefarious, I assume. Improve inking and typing, I don't care. No Taylor experience, no. See, everything defaults off here except the basic telemetry for crashes, it looks like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't look like they're being really aggressive here. I mean, I imagine that if you turn on the right checkbox, Linux sends call stack somewhere too, so you probably just may not be as comfortable with it.
Somebody was asking, can you actually put the taskbar/start menu on top of the desktop? Without it, we won't be able to upgrade dozens of PCs due to users that have an eye condition called nystagmus. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I used to know what that is. I think it's, no, I'm not going to guess. On top of the desktop, what does that mean?
I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, me either. Well, we'll go through the settings here. I know I can auto-hide it. Taskbar behaviors. So I can automatically hide the taskbar, and then it'll pop up when I go down. Hopefully that's close to what you were hoping for because it gives you no taskbar and some taskbar. It looks a lot prettier with the transparency effect, actually.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not working for me here. But don't need the pen. I'm going to turn on the touch keyboard, see what that looks like. No swipe text. One other thing I found interesting when I was poking around here was data usage.
So it'd be good if you repeat questions when I
Good point,
I'm not
yes.
on mic.
Thought I had been, but I will be more careful to repeat the question before just answering it. So I guess if you were on a limited or throttled internet setup, this would give you a way to not overrun your limits. And by the way, the monitor that I'm working on is right below the camera, so it looks like I'm looking down and ignoring the camera. That's kind of why. My other option was to work on my main monitor, but that's way over here, so I've got all the stream health and stuff going on over here, and everything looks good. But I'm paying attention over here instead.
Can you look at your diagnostic information?
Oh, can you see what it's sending?
Yeah.
I don't know. There might be a tool for that, but I've never seen a way that it's exposed in the UI. I can go back and
See
look.
if you could, I think.
We'll go look. Diagnostic and feedback settings. View your diagnostic data. Bless you. Turn on the diagnostic data viewer. Uses a gigabyte. Open the diagnostic data viewer. Well, this is pretty fancy. Thank you, stranger. I don't think I want to show these people all my super diagnostic data, but because it's probably got something private and personal in there. So you get to see exactly what it's sending. Yeah, unfortunately, because I don't know what's in that payload, I don't really want to expand it, but it looks like you can get access and see exactly what they're sending, so.
Yeah, from my vantage point, Microsoft doesn't send very much stuff that could be really that personally identifiable. They try not to.
Yeah, I think their intentions are actually really good. The problem is I would feel better about it if they weren't doing upsells in the start menu and running ads and stuff like that. Then I would, I trust Apple further because they don't tend to monetize things further.
Can you set Windows Terminal as the default terminal for Windows 11?
Yes, you can. So what we want to develop, can I set so if you look at terminal, and if I did it now, you'll see that I've already got, first I'll turn my taskbar back on before I get too far out of whack here. So the question is, if I bring up a terminal, you'll notice I get the fancy new terminal, and it's the tabbed interface where I can run multiple ones. I can mix and match. I can put the command prompt in here. How do you like my bright green VT220? Or this is my VT100.
I love that font.
It is called Glass TTY VT220. If you search on the internet for Glass TTY VT220, you will find this font. And if it's a shareware font, send the dude some cash, because I don't remember if this is a font I bought or one that was free, but I tend to buy the fonts that I really, really like, because it's kind of a rare skill. Anyway, how do we set this as my default? Because normally you'll just get the regular old command prompt, and that is in developer settings. The search is working really well in the settings UI. I've managed to find everything I've been looking for. So, developer mode on, device portal. No, I think that's for phones. Or wait, remote diagnostics over LAN. No, I don't want that. Make your device visible. Don't care. Bunch of settings like turn on extensions, remote desktop options, terminal. Now here's which terminal you get. And normally you get the Windows console host, I believe, but I've set mine to Windows Terminal Preview. Preview meaning beta, I believe, in this case. And that gives me the fancier terminal. What else do I have in here? Azure Cloud Shell, Windows PowerShell. The one thing that I've been unable to get working, unfortunately, is WSL-G. I really wanted to play with that, and I installed everything I thought I needed, but if I run Xeyes, can't open display. Maybe some genius out there will know what I need to set. Is there a display or a terminal variable or something that I need to get this working? Because as far as I know, I had everything. I did the WSL -- update or upgrade, whichever it is, and it did an upgrade. I'm current, but it doesn't work, so I'm not sure what to do there.
So somebody was asking, how does changing the default browser work now?
Oh, let's try and change the default browser. Do I have Chrome installed? Switch to the browser recommended by... So you type the word Chrome in, and it tells you to switch to the browser recommended by Microsoft. Download now.
Which is now effectively like Chrome anyway.
Yeah, although I did recently have a site that worked only in Chrome and not in Edge, when they're the same rendering engine, I thought, so.
They are the same rendering engine. That's weird.
I know. I was trying to, what do you call it when you multiply click on a website to vote it up?
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know, spam clicks.
Yeah, something like that. For one of my kids' football games, to get their quarterback elected. Well, if they don't even check the cookie, it's not my fault. You're almost obligated at that point. On your marks. Okay. I have to do this, but while it's going away, I'm going to see if I can change default browser. What if I just type default browser? I'm going to guess it's not that simple. Oh, default apps. Actually, it is that simple. What kind of app do I want? Okay, Chrome's here. Wow, lots of default apps. Let's see. Oh no, they wouldn't do that, would they?
What?
Well, if I type in Edge, I can see that it's got the file extension set for about 20 types. HTTP, HTTPS, HTML. Wouldn't make me change them all.
No, there's a default browser.
There's gotta be. But if I type HTML here,
Those are file associations. That's not going to be like the
no, it says set defaults for apps. So. File.
Search for browser.
Yeah. Let's try that. Browser. Well, I'm saying they're not making it easy. Default apps for links, file types, other types. Now I get an ad for Edge every time I try and switch one. So would I really have to do this for every type? I just can't believe they'd make me do that.
That seems horrible.
I may have to plead ignorance here. I don't want to say that they're forcing you to change it for every extension type. So maybe somebody who knows better can answer in the comments. How do you change it like all at once? All my browser stuff from Edge to Chrome. Let me know in the answers, please.
People are upset about the change. You got to check all the types.
You do?
Huh. I bet you when you're running Chrome, Chrome actually gives you a one-click option after you install it.
If not, I'd like to talk to you about my newest app, WebChoice 3000. For only $19.95, all you have to do is click one button. And for the Pro Turbo 3D version. All right. Let's see if I can go to my big NAS. Here's where you'll find that they've changed the folder icons, and they no longer show you previews of contents. So it used to be that you could see what was actually in a folder before you went there. Now you get a 1 pixel line there that's white to tell you that there's stuff in there. Not sure why it's not opening for me. See, that looks like a bug because I have a default menu of nothing. So this is one of those doesn't quite work yet moments. But I can go there manually with the path. If I grab let's see, a big-ass file. What's a big-ass file?
Doesn't that remind you of like when 95?
Oh, the look?
Because it's not, it's like 95, 98 almost.
So what am I getting? 400 megabytes a second. So that's pretty good in a VM because it's going through multiple layers. It's writing to virtual disks. It's doing all kinds of nonsense. And it's still managing pretty good throughput. Slowly getting faster too.
So some guy says try disabling the Hyper-V enhanced session. It gives you better rendering effects.
Hyper-V enhanced session. Well, if I would have to restart the session, I don't want to do that now.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I don't think it's a checkbox I can change on the fly, probably.
Yeah, so everyone's saying that you do have to click all the switches. So hey,
Yeah, so bad news. Looks like you have, well, according to popular consensus, it sounds like you have to click all of those, and that would really blow. So let's do it in Chrome, actually. Let's just let Chrome see if it can do it. I wasn't actually going to switch, but... Oh, no, I just punched you to this UI. Oh, no. Well, I'm not happy about that.
it's less than awesome.
Yep, let's see. I'm not going to force you to watch me do this, but that's what you would have to do. And there's about 10.
So is WSL Ubuntu baked into Windows 11?
Yes, I believe Ubuntu is, well, the actual distribution that comes down from the store, but WSL is fully baked in. So what I did was, let's see, I have to get a command prompt. I thought that would give me a list. It does not seem to. WSL list G doesn't, but I bet list does. So yeah, I just have the one, and it's subsystem version 2. That's important, and I think that's all I've got right now on this machine. So yeah, I just went to the store and installed Ubuntu, and it was actually pretty trivial.
Somebody says, Dave, you should be smiling. You look like doom and gloom, Dave.
I love clicking on stuff. Hey, when have I got this wicked green? Did I do that? Oh no, it's probably in. Okay, so here's security. There was
Maybe
other
you
stuff.
want to do custom color things.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering if I messed it up. But there was some security stuff that didn't work for me. Security and maintenance, maybe? Oh, we're back out of this. I'm surprised that you didn't make this compatible with the dark mode, you know. I'm of the opinion, just hire more interns and make the interns fix all your UI, teach them how to do UI, let them all tear at it, but that is not the prevailing attitude, so. Default apps, offline maps, apps, maps. Optional features. Let's see what we get for optional features. The Cherokee supplemental fonts. I was not aware that Cherokee had written language. But apparently they do. Chinese. I was not aware that the Chinese had a written language. No, I'm sure they did. For much longer than most people. Let's see. Well, none of this looks terribly interesting, but I'm sure it's important.
Can you add a favorite bar to your taskbar like you could before pinning was a thing?
I know you can pin apps, like pin to start, but I don't see any way to add a favorites bar. Nope, I don't see so. But if I type in favorites, what do I get? That's just going to be web favorites, so. Yeah, I don't see a way to do that, so you would have to just pin apps, I believe, is your option there to do favorites.
Can you open the control pad?
Yeah, let's try that. Control panel. So very much what you would expect from before. One thing I did find interesting, I like that my TV is in here and stuff. That's always kind of interesting. I don't know what you would possibly do with that, but looking for a printer. Do we see a printer anywhere here? There's a fax. No, I don't see my printer. Let's see if I got a printer. See if there's a printer's UI. Printers and scanners. Oh, 1 second, I need to log into my laptop. All right, yes, we go. Problem solved. Well, we can add this printer. This is the printer just on the network. It's just plugged in and joined to the Wi-Fi, and it's found it already, which is kind of nice. See if we can actually set it up and use it. It may not be turned on. No, it has to be turned on, but it's probably sleeping. Hopefully it will wake up. So that's very Mac-esque, because normally that requires something called Bonjour, which is MDNS, which Windows typically doesn't play well with. I shouldn't get too carried away until it actually does something, because it's only connecting at this point, but... Ooh, installing. Look at that. Drivers, everything. That was pretty fancy. Now it just says it's ready. How do I get to it? Go back to printers. So that's handy. I can get there. I didn't have to do anything. I haven't been punted to old UI. Printer properties. Yeah, I get the, well, you can't really do, this is the problem. This is what Microsoft faces for 20-some years. Everybody that's written printer property pages to add functionality to a printer, like how much ink is in your toner cartridge, that's all done using property pages. And so when they switch to this new, the dark mode UI, as you're seeing here, the new control panel, none of this old code works, and there's no easy way to port it. So they just basically fall back. And the other option would be to say, kind of the Mac approach, which would be, well, you want your printer to work on the new version, you get to write all new software, and you get to buy all new stuff. But Windows is a much more compatible story, and as a result, you sometimes fall back into this ancient-looking stuff. All right, what's next?
If you right-click on Taskbar, do you get toolbar menu?
Right-click on Taskbar gives you Taskbar settings. Somebody was asking if you get a toolbar menu. If you go down here, notification settings is another option. Here we go. Maybe this is what you're looking for. So this allows you to customize what goes on down by your clock, notifications, and so on. Well, here's privacy and security, which I was having some issues with. Let's take a look in here. See, I get this. I get a look for an app in the Microsoft Store whenever I try to open a Windows Defender link.
Oh, Defender doesn't come default.
I don't know. Get Chalar on the line.
Exactly.
Windows Defender with advanced firewall security, blah, blah, blah. Windows Security app. Ah, but it doesn't run. Maybe that's the problem. Well, that's kind of cute. You right-click on an app and pick App Settings, and you get settings related to it. Doesn't really look directly related to it, but...
Did you try getting Defender?
Oh, from the store, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, let's go to the store.
Seems like it wanted that. Well, it's weird that... Yeah, okay.
So if I go to the store and I say open app, it tells me to go to the store and look for an app.
There's got to be something.
And OK is not an option.
That's got to be a button.
Yeah, there's no X, there's no OK button. And, well, at least I can get out of there. That's a little rough. So that's what they call a bug that they will presumably fix. All right, I've got CPU-Z running here. And as you can see, I did a quick little benchmark. If I run the benchmark, this machine normally runs around 21,000 bare metal. And in the Hyper-V session, Windows 10, it's running, or Windows 11, I should say, it's running 18.2, which is typical for what you would see in a VM, I believe. And single thread is running 410 versus a regular 510, so that's almost, what, a 20% whack? It's a big chunk off the top, it seems like, but...
Somebody points out they're running a preview that seems less buggy. Is it because you're running in a VM?
It could be. You could also be running a newer channel. Somebody else was saying that they have seen fewer of these bugs in their version of the Insider Preview. And I'm running, there's different channels you can run in the Insider Preview, you know, raw, daily builds, weekly builds, betas, that kind of thing. So it really depends which versions you've got and which channel you're in. Let's take WinVer, see what I've got. 22.454. I don't know, that seems pretty current, but I don't think the Windows Defender things will be related to the VM. The transparency missing, I can see that,
Yeah.
but I don't think the Defender stuff would be. It could be that I upgraded a Windows 10 install. This is not a fresh install, it's an upgrade of a Windows 10 install, so it's possible I had a bug of some kind that got brought along. For backwards compatibility, people were asking about, I figured run a pinball on it. Demo was, hey, that's an ancient app, and it seems to work, so. That's probably really loud. Oh my goodness.
Who wrote that?
Some handsome dude. now I don't even remember his name. David Stafford, I think. But then I ported it, so.
How's File Explorer performance?
How is File Explorer? What's his performance like? Well, let's take a look. And let's see, search quick access. What would that do? Oh, it searches the things in my quick access, I bet, which I have my NAS in there. That would be interesting. Why do that? How long does it take to find it? No items. Okay, what if I say this PC? Working on it. 2, 3, 4, 5, thinking, 7, 12, 14, 8. Yeah, that's too slow. Now, maybe because RAR is not an index file type, but disappointing. I would hope that it would find or not find much faster than that.
So someone pointed out, you are not on, you're on the Nickel's second build, which is an early version of the first Windows 11 update for next year, not the version to be released next month.
Ah, so I'm running an older version indeed then, right?
Well, a newer.
Oh, newer, because it's rougher.
Yes, so you're past the release version, and now they're messing with it, so you are probably going to find bugs.
Okay, so what they're just telling me is that I am running a newer than release version, so they've already gone past the lockdown where they stop adding things and just fix stuff, and then they've reopened it for check-ins, which probably allows things to break again, and this won't be ready until the next beta of something, so it's a little too fresh.
Very fresh. Are they still doing ARM builds?
Wow, I don't know if they're doing ARM builds.
Yeah, they're doing ARM builds because they have the Surface Duo and things, right?
Oh yeah, so he points out the Surface Duo is ARM-based, so
Yeah.
they're definitely still maintaining that.
They have.
Not that they're necessarily continuing the ARM Duo, but I mean the Core Duo, but.
Yeah, I think that there's enough stuff that it's likely. We are not authoritative, but it seems likely they would be maintaining ARM.
Yeah, all the work that we did to support Alpha, PowerPC, MIPS, which was a fair substantive, it was like a year's worth of work or 6 months worth of work anyway. That all turned out to be, at first we thought kind of lost work because we went back, constructed back to just Intel. But now with ARM, everything that we did for those RISC chips applies to the ARM builds of today, so.
Well, that and the Itanium builds and all sorts of things too, right? So,
Do they still support Itanium?
no, they
No.
did for
Okay.
a long time. We had to port massive amounts of code into Itanium. Boo.
Yeah, both of the users were truly thrilled. I've been busted, so I released my pinball video, and then I accidentally deleted it and had to re-release it. If you've noticed that it came up twice, I don't even know what happened to it, to be honest. Maybe YouTube took it down for all I know. I just noticed my video was gone, and people started asking me, "Hey, what happened to the pinball video?" I was trying to share it, and it's gone. So I was like, I don't know. So I re-uploaded it. Can't explain that. But people have taken me to task with the fact that when I said there's no 64-bit version released, people found that there were, in fact, builds of 64-bit pinball done by Microsoft. But the point is they never got them all to work. You can't release, well, we'll just release the ones that work. So if you got an alpha, it works, MIPS, no, and so on and so forth. So the fact that they all didn't work, and I think the bug that Raymond ran into was, I believe, actually on the alpha. So it totally depended on which CPU set you were working on. So it could be a compiler issue or who knows what. But whatever the ultimate cause, you can't release it on ARM only and not Intel or vice versa, that kind of thing. So they got to all work before you can say it works on 64-bit.
Someone's asking about RAM. How much is the RAM consumption? I think we asked it. It was like 6 gig, right?
Yeah, we're using 6 gigs of RAM just sitting here. But I mean, I've had stuff loaded, and I'm one of those people that says, use it all because I've got it. Just be prepared to give it back when I need it for something else. I've always wondered what the compressed memory is. Like, somewhere you'll see in here, 19 megabytes of compressed memory. It's like really saving me a lot. I don't know what's compressed. Hardware reserved, 1 megabyte. Good to know. All right, so our next thing, I'm going to right-click on the Start button and show you this fancy menu that comes up, which is pretty much everything you want to know and use on your PC itself. So if you want Task Manager, that's the easiest way to get it right now. Right-click on the Start button, Task Manager, boom, there you go. What else comes up here? We've got Apps and Features, which is basically your Settings UI. Power Options, again, these are probably going to dump you into the Settings UI, but at a specific point. Best Performance seems to be the default, which is good. Event Viewer, there's no way this is going to be updated. Yeah, I didn't think so. Device Manager, similarly, will be Classic UI, I believe. Oh, I saw some weird painting there. Fancy. Network, we looked over briefly. Oh, Accounts. OneDrive, Manage, I'm all logged in. Look at this young man here with chubbier cheeks and a lot more hair. The photo's like 15 years old, man. Let's see, sign-in options. Sign in with a physical security key.
That is the way to do it.
Disk management, similarly, I'm going to guess is unupdated. Unupdated? That's not a word, but
Ooh, that's a good one. Does Control-Shift-Escape still bring up Task Manager?
does Control-Shift-Escape still bring up Task Manager? And I'm going to wager it does. Yes. I'm not sure. Is that, which one did I get? Oh, I will get the one. I'm wondering if I got the host or the VM, but I'll get the VM. Yeah, it works. You know,
Windows 11 use hardware acceleration.
for what?
Just says for video cards.
Does Windows 11 use? Yes, it does use hardware acceleration. All the desktop drawing and all that, that's done with hardware acceleration. Every kind of bit, blit, and create div section, that's all going to use the, if nothing else, memory on the graphics card. And drawing rectangles of graphics is not really highly intensive, but anytime you're compositing layers together, that's done through the graphics card as well. If I had transparency going, that would all be done on the graphics card. If I look at it now, I bet I won't see any use of my GPU much at all. But in fact, I don't even have a GPU entry in here, so that's a little GPU, because I'm on an RDP session. So right now, I am not hardware accelerated, I'm guessing, because only my client is.
Someone asks, do you still have a special Microsoft account?
Yeah, I still have a special Microsoft account, Davepl_MS at Hotmail or MSN or any of those properties. And I just checked it, and somebody said, do you still use this account? Because I showed it in a video by mistake the other day, and so I started getting some emails there. And it also has still dial-up and for MSN, so I can get my modem up and I can call into MSN. I have like lifetime MSN. So, not sure what I would ever do with that, but. There's Terminal, Task Manager, Settings, File Explorer. So File Explorer, the big regression to me is this lack of preview, because if you look at the folder on OneDrive, like let's say View Online here, it's going to be a horrible experience, but we'll load it up here. So you can see you get sort of previews of everything that's in all your folders. And that's on OneDrive Online. But here, nothing. So you get to know if there's a file in there or not. No previews. I can see that it makes things a little less messy, perhaps, but even if you got it on a mouse over, that would maybe be better. I'm not sure what to totally suggest there, but.
Mind you, I've been annoyed at the way that the thumbnails got created on the folders, because sometimes it'll be like from like a really, like if you have a photo trove, it can be photos you don't want. It can be
Right.
photos you wish weren't part of that, weren't being displayed for everybody.
See, the search bugs me. I don't want an online link. Hardware keyboard settings.
Someone said, check out the new IP setting on the setting menu.
Show text suggestions when typing on the physical keyboard. We'll try that. Autocorrect, sure, sure. Advanced keyboard settings. Different input method for each window. Use the desktop language. Here's something I find a little odd. If I say translate, it actually has a cool thing. But the default is Afrikaans, or however you pronounce that. And so they just do it alphabetically. They know my locale. It's set in the registry. So why they don't just go, what's your current locale? I know that's probably politically incorrect to somehow assume, but if you're using the actual user set locale, it's not like you're assuming the Queen's English, so I'm not sure why they don't do that. Marhaba? I don't know. Well, what else we got? A couple of things.
Have you checked out the new IP setting on the setting menu?
Like network settings?
I guess so.
Let's see. Here's Ethernet. Well, so they've actually updated this UI a fair bit because I'm not getting forced out. I can set my DNS. So I can do most things here in the UI, which is actually nice because it used to punch you out really early. I can't get to my firewall settings because of this. I love that it has OK disabled, no close. That blows my away. Control F4, how do you close a window, man? Well, we'll just close the parent. There we go. I did once write a dialogue like that. So in MS-DOS, I worked on Smart Drive. And when the system delay writes buffers, it has to be able to write them to your disk. And when it can't write to your disk, you get the MS-DOS, like the Guru meditation, the full screen error, and it comes up and it says, could not flush cache to disk. Press R to retry. And that's your only option. If you want to reboot it or unplug the machine, that's up to you, but I'll just keep retrying.
Someone asked a really advanced question. That's interesting.
What's that?
So does the disk cleanup utility also take Windows prefetch, Windows temp, and updated local temp into account?
Well, let's see what it claims to remove. Internet downloaded programs, temporary internet files, DirectX shader cache, delivery optimization files. I'm not even sure what that is. It says those are used to download updates from Microsoft. See, this should be a resizable dialogue in the year 2021. We didn't lose a war. Why can't we resize our dialogues? Thumbnails. Let's see, clean up system files. Does that give me more choices? Nope, just a different option. That's all the information it gave me in terms of what it cleans up, unfortunately. So I got in touch with the guy who wrote HTOP. This is the version of Task Manager for Linux, basically. And I don't know what I would talk about for a long time, but I thought it might be an interesting interview to have, me from Task Manager and him from HTOP. Because I don't really know a great deal about the Linux low-level system metric stuff and how you get those kind of stats. But I'm sure you pipe a device through a awk filter or something like that. It's calculating. How much can I clean up? 31 megabytes. 46 megabytes, yeah, not big savings. If I could take some of these gigabyte ones. Yeah. Don't need that. That's not fun or interesting. Well, what else we got? Any other good questions burning in?
Let's see. How long are we going to keep doing this?
Until I run out of good questions, so I need better questions. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I do need a good question. Oh my goodness. What a
Just
mess.
speed to text, WinH. Text. It's text to speech.
Text to speech?
Windows H.
I don't know what kind of audio I got going on right now, but voice typing turns your voice into text with Microsoft's online speech technology. Select the mic button to start using it. Okay. Well, this seems scary. Let me turn the volume down a little bit here. Windows H. Well, that's using my microphone. I thought this was text-to-speech. Or is it input?
Voice to text, or maybe it is.
Oh, he wants input. Okay, well, that's easy enough. Oh, but I'm obviously using my microphone for other purposes right now. So it is otherwise gainfully employed. So no, I cannot test my microphone. We could try, though, a way to end my live stream. Dave, test your camera. What happens if you right-click on Disable in the device manager?
Is Notepad improved?
Well, it'd be hard to improve on Notepad. Let's see if they did anything. I'm going to wager no. So here's the thing about Notepad. It could have a dark mode. That would be nice. But what Notepad actually is it's an edit control and a menu and a frame window. And then there's very minimal code actually added on top. So if you look at this thing, bring up SpyXX, look at it that kind of way. It's a really rudimentary app. So what you're basically seeing is whatever functionality is in the edit control. For example, this is all pretty much standard edit control behavior. And unless they rev edit control, you're not going to see much changes in Notepad. Plus, you really can't change Notepad much because I'm sure there are a million apps out there that make assumptions about how Notepad works and what order the menus are in, and they drive it with macros and do all kinds of horrible things that are going to break immediately as soon as Microsoft makes any changes to anything that fundamental. But
Someone wants to hear the voice in the text-to-speech in the control panel.
text-to-speech.
You have selected Microsoft David Desktop, English, United States, as the computer's default voice.
That's really scary. It's almost like HAL.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, whoa, where'd it go? I hit enter. What did I do?
I definitely think I'm losing my mind, Dave.
I can feel it.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Not quite. What other voices do we get here? Zero.
It still has
You have
that.
selected Microsoft Zero Desktop, English, United States, as the computer's default voice.
Still has that.
You have
Sam
selected
accent.
Microsoft Zero Desktop, English.
Yeah, the gaps between words are kind of weird. They're not rolling one phoneme into the next. There's some.
There are way better engines than
What if I crank the speed up?
You have selected Microsoft Zero Desktop, English, United States, as the computer's default.
that. That's clearly better.
You have selected
Oh, my computer's drunk.
Microsoft Zero Desktop, English, United.
So when you said there's no way Event Viewer would be updated, why did you say that?
It just sounds like it's a component that is something that once they wrote it and got it working, it was locked in time for the ages, and they won't make any investments in it because it's good enough and does what it wants to do, and nobody's clamoring for an upgrade. That, my goodness, they finally upgraded Event Viewer. Unless they put a stake in the ground that said they're gonna like finally update all the UI to match and be consistent, I don't see it happening. So.
You don't know me.
Oh dear. Yeah, you should do like the prank calls from The Simpsons on it.
Yeah.
You're not the boss of me.
Okay. That's enough fun with text-to-speech.
That's funny.
All right, what's next?
What's the oldest dialogue do you think that's still present in Win 10?
Oh, I bet we could probably find an old icon somewhere, but yeah, I'm trying to think. It's gonna be like an event recorder or something like that. No, it's voice recorder. That's too new. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to really tinker around because it's going to be buried pretty deep. Obviously, it's not going to be surfaced on a UI right in your face. But I did see something that had, is it regedit?
Could be a pretty long one.
No, this looks newer. Is it? It was actually an NT UI that I saw because it was like regedit 32 or something.
Oh, I wonder. It's probably old certificate UI. Is dialer.exe still included?
Oh, dialer might be a good one to look at. I was thinking disk quota might be pretty.
When you've done that, someone wants to see multiple desktops.
Oh, yeah.
Tabbing through multiple desktops and stuff. No dialer. What the?
There you go.
Ha!
Dialer for the win. Thank you. That's the icon type I was looking for.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, you still got those around.
Holy mackerel. Wow.
That's pretty awesome. I wrote an app like this in the 80s, HyperDialer. It looked like this. Let's see. So in terms of arranging now, this is not a super wide monitor that I'm using. It's, I don't even know if it's 4K. But it's if I do Win key Z or Z. Oh, I gotta have a window up. This fooled me for a while. So say I bring up Notepad. Now I want to put it somewhere. I do Win key Z, and I can pick. Where do I want it to wind up? And here's the set of zones that I can use. So if I wanted to split my windows into 3, I could say put it there, or here, and so on. Or if I want the quarter setups, excuse me. Similarly now when I Alt-Tab, it will show me the layout as I go, which is kind of nice. So let's see if I did another app here. So this kind of thing. Now, if you get in the widest monitors, they give you all 6. This actually is probably all 6. Am I getting all 6? Yeah. So if you have a narrower monitor, you only get 4 options here. But with a wide enough monitor, you get 6 options. The only disappointing thing to me is that you can't customize this, but I don't really have a layout that I personally need more than these. These are probably the fundamental ones that you need. But if you wanted some custom layout, I don't think there's a way to customize these at all. Yeah, there's no menu here or anything, so. But it works pretty well. It's, I believe, fancy zones from the Power toys, and that got integrated into Windows.
Somebody points out you should look at ODBC. It's probably equally.
ODBC data sources. Did you know that it's a programming interface that enables applications to access data in a database management system that uses structured query language? Wow. Yeah, see, this is something I would have a hard time, paying a lot of money to have people update. So I could see making this dark mode at least. That's maybe the lowest hanging fruit, so that everything looks visually consistent in terms of colors. And then if you can't quite get to updating this to new UI, because this is as big as the control panel, basically. It's the original control panel in terms of the amount of UI, because each one of these things is probably going to have weird properties. Or I shouldn't just be clicking on all these, canceling them. Why doesn't my machine work right anymore? Hey, look, we're over 1,000 concurrent viewers. That's actually kind of cool.
On ODBC.
Got 1,000 people watching me play with ODBC drivers. I fooled you all. It's like the ultimate Rick rule.
So when you hit Alt-Tab, you can create a new desktop.
Yes, new desktop. So I go new desktop here. And I don't know how to do this. I even worked on desktops because of Task Manager. But so if I go to desktop 2 and I run an app here, then I go to desktop 1. I don't have the app here. Let's put calc on this desktop. So I got calc here, and I got terminal on the other one. So I don't know how to get there with the mouse, or with the keyboard, I should say, but with the mouse, you just click on the desktop you want. You can also go to the app in question. Oh, but why can't I get to calc? Okay, Alt Tab only cycles through the apps on the current desktop. There's probably a keyboard shortcut that I don't know to get you to, but you can cycle through them on the current desktop only, and then you have to click to the other desktop to get to those. Hey, one thing I should mention is that if you're watching along and you actually find this kind of stuff interesting, that the scripted episodes are also a little more dense for content. And if you want them, please subscribe to the channel. Who's phoning me?
Eric,
Oh, I'm getting a call. I can't take it right now.
let's decline that.
Let's decline that call. So subscribe. Subscribe and like. Like and subscribe. Do it all. Word. Make sure it works. Hey, here's the things I want to look through. Let's see. Taskbar, search, colors, personalization, view the printer for the network. We did that. Data usage, yes. Hardware and connection properties. Windows security we saw was broken. Developer settings, we played with that. H-top, right click. I cannot do iPerf because I don't have the machine running right now to test against, but we did a big file copy from the NAS and it worked very well. Oh, widgets, that's what I was going to miss. WinKey Z we did. WSLG, backwards compatible pinball. I did already install the apps, but it didn't work because it can't open the display. CPU-Z we looked at. Translate ignores the locale. Would I upgrade? Yeah, I'm going to upgrade. As soon as if it's, these rough edges are fixed, of course, which I assume they are in the release build because I'm using a monkeyed with later build. Yeah, I like the look of it, and I like everything they've done, and it seems really, really stable. I've never had any kind of instability with it at all, so. Especially if they have finally added AMD virtualization or sub-virtualization. If it's in this build, then I must have it. Because I have all these fairly powerful machines, but I've got no way to install like Proxmox and stuff like that because I can't re-virtualize a virtual machine because I run AMD. You can do it on Intel. They've had it in the insider previews, but I don't want to run beta builds on my main machine, so I still do not have it. Here's widgets. Last thing I think we're going to look at for today, unless there's some cool questions that come in. Oh, look at this dude.
That's a great icon.
So my concern with this, and it looks cool, is I don't know how much customization you get. Because otherwise, this looks to me just like MSN. I mean, Elizabeth Hurley, she's on every one of my home pages. I don't know why. Probably because I'm like a 54-year-old male, but Charlie Sheen, Seahawks. I mean, this is just my MSN content that I ignore whenever I launch.
Having the National Enquirer on your desktop.
It kind of is. Yeah, it's like the Enquirer or more like People Magazine, maybe, something like that. It's all clickbait. I mean, fans go wild after seeing Leanne Rimes stun in tiny crop top and shorts. Breaking news. You want me to click on
Can
it,
you
but I'm not
turn
going
that
to.
stuff off?
I don't know. I looked at how to customize this, and I never really figured out how to do that. Settings. Add widgets. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Well, to do, that would be handy. Outlook calendar. I don't actually use the Outlook calendar, but. And we'll say traffic. Why not?
I think entertainment was the one we could probably get rid of.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's better.
Remove. Remove. Yeah, this is just their default content then, I guess, that you get no matter what, but. So that would be handy if I could see my to-do list and my calendar, those kind of things on a sidebar like that, which I'm sure you can probably do on the Mac too. That's probably one of these things that make people say, hey, it's just like the Mac. Same with, as you mentioned before, the dock is very Mac-like now, and they even call it a dock. It's no longer the tray, so.
It's an interesting one. Pick the quad desktop layout and stretch a corner. Do the others adjust?
So if we launch this and do, somebody wants to know if we do the quad desktop layout, and then what, stretch a corner here?
Yeah.
I can't stretch now, so I'm guessing no. Could not stretch it until,
Yeah, so it maxes it effectively to 4.
yeah, the answer no. It just maximizes it sort of into that screen real estate.
Who's the guy with you?
The guy with me, well, we got two guys. We got remotely, we got Glenn from high school. Glenn is a buddy of mine who's doing the moderation, and he's going through all the questions and then pushing the good ones off to Chris, who's here on site. And Chris is also a buddy from those days, although we didn't go to high school together. And he worked at Microsoft for 10 or 15 years. We kind of overlapped. He came in my last couple of years, and I left, so we kind of tag teamed, and I got out. He came in, and overlapped by a couple of years there. So he's the security dude. Certificates and things like that. Well, I think this is probably a good point to wrap it up. Get my 15 minutes of advance fast forwarding into the NFL game so I can skip some ads and go and watch that. So thanks very much for joining me out here today in the shop. I appreciate you coming by. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel and give this a like if you did enjoy it at all. Leave me a comment with anything that's really burning that I didn't cover, because I'm going to go through the comments and then look to see if there's enough content to put together a more concise episode out of this somehow, and maybe edit this down or script something out. So, in the meantime and in between time, hope to see you next time, right here in Dave's Garage. Now, watch carefully as I fumble around for 4 to 5 minutes trying to find the end stream button. Oh no, there it is. Nope, can't get there from here. See, this is what I was talking about. There we go.